like fun to you? This is what we call a bluegrass jam, and you could join us too on Play Along with Taborgrass. Why don't you join us? Come on. Pinto, why don't you join us too? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 8. Play along with Taborgrass. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Play Along with Taborgrass. My name is Greg Stone, and each week we learn a new bluegrass song for all of these instruments. I'm holding the guitar, and we have Steve over here on the fiddle, and we have Linda here on the mandolin, and we have Elliot here on the banjo. So at home, pick up the instrument of your choice, and we'll just go right along. And at this point, I want to introduce the Taborgrassers. Hi, Taborgrassers. We got everybody here. All right. So this week's song is I'll Fly Away in the key of D. Okay? So let's get D under our belts here. What we're going to do first is we're going to just play the chorus. No, we're going to play the verse and then the chorus. Just kind of get an idea of what this song sounds like for all you at home. So are we ready? I'll give a couple of 4 counts. And we come in on the 1. Yes, we come in on the 1 on this one. Okay, great. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah. By and by, I'll fly away. Okay, that's this week's song, and that's how it goes. So, first thing we want to talk about is that we have a little different approach for songs as we have for tunes. The tunes, remember, are instrumentals. We don't sing on the tunes, and we have music, written music for the tunes, because they don't change keys. They stay in the same key. In fact, if you did change a key for a tune, this man over here would be very, very cranky because...
hell to pay.
Oh, yes, 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 because they never change keys, and the fiddlers know it in the key that they know that tune in, and usually it's a key that's easiest to play on the instrument and the voice of the instrument. But our voices, when we sing a song, our voices are all different. All individuals are different. I like to sing I'll Fly Away in D, but that's good for my voice, but maybe Steve might like to sing it in another key, and Linda might sing it in a different key, and Elliot over here might like to sing it in G instead, or different keys. So we need a system where I don't have to write. I'm kind of lazy about this. I don't want to have to write music for all 5 keys for I'll Fly Away. So we're going to do a number system here. So at this point, let's concentrate on the rhythm backup, and we're going to go to what we call our cheat sheet and our chord progression chart, and then we'll be right back with you. Okay, here's our cheat sheet for I'll Fly Away. We're going to be doing this in the key of D, D delta. Where is key of D in our cheat sheet? It's right here, right off to my side. Let me get out of the way just a little bit. Okay, that's good. All right, key of D, key is here. Students, again, I can't stress this enough. Please memorize the 1, 4, 5 and all 5 of these keys. These are our main keys for bluegrass, so I'm not asking you to memorize in every key out there, which is there's 12 of them. We only have 5 that we use most of the time. So please memorize your 1, 4, and 5 in every one of these keys, C, D, G, A, and E. So now we are in the key of D, so let's look. The 1 is the D, of course. The 4 is the G, D, E, F, G, right? And the 5 is just one more ahead of the alphabet is A. Of course, we start all over again after G, right? So we have A. That's the 5. So in the key of D, we have D, G, A, D. 1, 4, 5, 1. Please memorize these, okay? And let's go to our chord progression chart for I'll Fly Away. Okay, here's the chord progression chart for I'll Fly Away. Today we're going to sing it in the key of D, delta. Okay, so first we notice 4/4 time. We're in 4/4 time. That makes it convenient. That means every one of these squares, which we call measures, is 4 beats. We see a bunch of 1s here on the top line. All those 1s are the key, right? So that's D. So we have D here, D here, D here, D across the whole front line. Now on the second line we start with the 4. What's the 4 for D, right? You have it memorized? You should have it memorized, is the G. So now we have a couple of Gs, then we go back to the D, and then we get a 5 all the way down here on the bottom line of the music, and the 5 is an A, right? We start all over again in the alphabet, so the 5 is an A. So now we've got our chords figured out. When do we come in? That's the next thing. When do we come in with the music? Okay, so I'll Fly Away goes like this. Some glad morning. So when is that? That sounds to me like the band and the words come in at the same time, so that means it's on the 1, right? We don't have to worry about down here any what we call pickup notes or any notes before the rest of the band starts or before the 1, which is right here in the chord progressions, you know, the chords that we play as a backup, always on the 1, right? So this time our words coincide with the 1. So some glad morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away. Okay, so you get the idea, all right? So hey, I think we're ready to sing I'll Fly Away. So now let's work on the rhythm. Let's do the rhythm as a group here. Again, we're in the key of D. And I'm going to start the guitar rhythm. It emphasizes the 1 and 3. And while we're on the subject, I want to introduce keeping us on time and in time is D on the bass. And we're going to emphasize the 1 and 3 for the rhythm. And the way we do that again is the root note always is the first note, which is the D. Then the strum is the second beat. Then the alternate note, which a lot of time is the 5 of the scale, and is the 3. And then the 4 is a strum. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bass does the same thing. Emphasize the 1 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the other instruments do the 2 and 4. Just a little strum, or what we call a chop, on the 2 and 4. 2, 4. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, that sounds really good. That's a really good rhythm backup. And again, we want to stay out of the lead person's way, or the lead singer, or the vocalist. We want to stay out of their way with the rhythm, so we want to keep those. We don't want the strums to be ringing. We want them to be nice and short, and those notes to be nice and short. So we stay out of the way, because the music gets really busy otherwise. If we're just doing like a ringing chord, we don't really want to do that, or play, you know, that kind of thing. Oh boy, yeah, you'll get kicked out of the jam. But anyway, no, you won't, because these are friendly jams. But anyway, we want to keep it nice and clean, just like we just heard. So now what we want to do is we want to talk a little bit about the melody. Again, we don't have any written music. This is all by ear, the melody of the song. So we have to do it by ear. And how are we going to do that? We've got so many darn notes here. Well, we have to start with the scale. Now, we're in the key of D. So what I want is to review that D scale, because every note in the D scale is in the melody of I'll Fly Away. And I'll Fly Away's melody, every note in I'll Fly Away's melody is in the D major scale. Okay, so that's convenient, isn't it? So now all we have to do is worry about those 7 notes in the scale. So let's all do the scale together. Again, you can download it on Taborgrass.com. You can download all the scales and all the fingerings and everything too, so you can work on those at home. So when somebody calls in a jam, I'll Fly Away in the key of D, first thing you want to do is the scale. So let's do that all together now. I'll give 1 4 count and we'll all play the scale together. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Great, let's try that again. 1 2 3 4. Okay, I'm going to call it for a 3rd time, and maybe this time I'll get it right. Okay, 1 2 3 4. All right, I finally get satisfaction. All right, I got the scale right, the D major scale right. Okay, that's good. So that's good practice. Now we've got those under our fingers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to give all of these degrees of the scale numbers, okay? And the reason we go through the trouble of giving them numbers is because the numbers don't change depending on the key. Once we have the numbers of the degrees of the scale, then we can call any key. We can call the key of E, we can call the key of C, we can call the key of G, and those numbers don't change. So that's why we want to convert everything to numbers, like we did with the chord progression just a little bit earlier. So let's do this. So this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and back to the 1 again. And I played the scale right. That was great. And then 1, and then I'm not going to go backwards. So it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and back to the 1. Okay, now that they all have numbers, the degrees of the scale, let's go by ear again and figure out where we are with our very starting phrase. Some glad morning. There's our starting phrase. Some glad morning. Let's find that on our instruments. Some glad morning in that D scale. Some glad morning. Some glad morning. Okay, let's number those 3 notes that we find. So we go from 1, 1 2 3. Hey, some is the 3. Okay, can I get everyone to stop for just a second? Some, so 1 2 3, some glad. Back to the 1, morn. We're going to go way down to the lower 5. This is down below the 1, so I call that the L5. And then back to the 1. So it's 3 1 L5 1. Okay, so that's our starting phrase right there. Now, you're not going to get it right the first time. This takes a lot of practice, folks. So don't get impatient with yourself on this. You seek and you shall find is what we like to say. All you have are 7 notes to choose from. In fact, if you just played the D major scale for your break, for your lead, that would be totally acceptable. But we're going to try and get a little closer to the melody. So write these notes down on your music, on your lyric sheet. It goes 3 1 lower 5, 1. Okay, that's your first phrase. Now, the range. What is the range? Now we start, now the chorus is different than the verse. This is the first time we've come across this, where the chorus melody is different than the verse. So now we have a little other challenge to do. I'll fly away, oh glory. There's our high note right there on the chorus. I'll fly away, oh glory. How come we're playing the chorus as well as the verse? Well, because they're two different melodies. Before, the verse and the chorus were the same melody, so we just had to learn one melody, right? Now we need to know two melodies, because what's fun in a jam is to have one instrument play the verse melody, and then I hand it off to Steve, and then he'll play the chorus melody. And so the high note, so what we're going to do here is we're going to put both of those melodies together when we practice, but in a jam, I'll play the verse, you'll play the chorus, Linda will play the verse melody, and then Elliot over here will play the chorus. It keeps it going. It keeps it going just a little. It makes it a little bit more interesting. So putting these two together, we get to the chorus, we get to our high note. What is the high note? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The high 5. We had the low 5 down here, remember earlier in the verse? Now we got the high 5. Okay, so that's our range. We've got a whole octave range there for our lead. So we've got the range, we've got the starting melody, the starting phrase, so write that down. The only thing left now is when to come in. That's another number. I think we've discovered that we come in on what? The 1, right? We come in on the 1. Most songs don't come in on the 1, but this one's going to be very convenient and have us come in on the 1. So I'll still give you 2 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we start singing right on the 1, and we start our backup on the 1 as well. Everything comes in at the same time. Okay? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to demonstrate the melody on the instruments. And what I'll do is I'll take the verse, and then Steve will take the chorus, and then Linda will take a verse, and Elliot here on the banjo will take a chorus. Are you guys ready to kind of mix it up a little bit? The Taborgrassers here in the studio will choose whichever one they want to do, whichever one you want to follow, and at home too, choose whatever one you want to follow. But for right now, it'd be nice to learn them both. Play right along with all the instruments, with the instrument of your choice, or you can be, like I've said before, you can be putting them down and picking them up and all these different instruments. But anyway, the instrument of your choice at home. So let's do that. Now, once we get done with all the demonstrations, what we're going to do is we're going to sing, we'll sing the first verse again, and then the chorus. And singing is so important too. We're talking about, you know, playing on the instruments, but singing is so important. Listen to those recordings. Listen to the original recordings out there. Everything's on YouTube now, including, I think this is going to be on YouTube too, eventually, probably. Everything gets there. But listen to the original artists and how they sing, how they harmonize. Singing is very important too. So then after we're done with the demonstrations, we're going to sing the verse and the chorus. I encourage you to sing the harmony as well. And then we're going to, again, play the lead a few times to give you practice at home and to give us practice here in the studio. Okay, are we ready? All right, I'll do the verse, you do the chorus, we'll do, okay, let's just do it. Okay, all right. Wait a minute, I've got to review my, see, this is why, see, that's always good to do, is just kind of get that first phrase before we actually start everything so you're not wasting everybody's time. So, the thing I want to mention here too is for the songs, we do have samples of the guitar, or not the guitar, but the banjo music, because the banjo has a little bit more than just playing the melody of the song. You guys on the banjo have a little bit more to do. You have like a forward roll or a note pinch kind of thing. So I have those exercises on taborgrass.com. I also have samples of some of the songs in a couple of the keys that you might want to do just to get used to some of the rolls, because it's a little bit more difficult on the banjo, even though you might not think you might think it's a very simple instrument, but the banjos have a hard time with that because everybody thinks, well, you know, there's all those banjo jokes out there. But really, it's a very difficult instrument to play. So we do have some samples for you at home, download on Taborgrass. Okay, so the rest of us are going to play the single notes. Okay, here we go, guitar first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Steve on the chorus. Linda on the mandolin, verse. Got Elliot on the banjo, chorus. Let's sing that first verse. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to a home on God's celestial shore. I'll fly away. Okay, all skate. Let's all play the melody. I want to thank you at home for tuning in to Play Along with Taborgrass. We had a lot of fun today. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week on Play Along with Taborgrass.